This is one that the citizens care much about, and this is our Mud Bridge update. So Ernesto de la Garza, our new Public Works Director, is living the testament of, we got a lot to do in our public infrastructure, right, Ernesto?
Yeah,
yes.
Welcome.
So he's going to, he and I both were at Mud Bridge last week doing a live communication to the community. Before Ernesto begins, I just want to say, as a city manager, we know this is important. We have empathy for the residents that have to detour and add about 20 minutes to their trip. We know the bridge has some maintenance issues. The key thing is this, so our key message is that together with our teams here, our private sector and TxDOT, we're moving forward. We're going to get the bridge fixed. With Ernesto leading our Public Works Department, that's 2.5, 3 years young, we are moving forward with better maintenance schedules. We know we have some 86 bridges, and one of the things Ernesto's been doing is looking at all of those bridges in the past week or so to see what do we have to do so this doesn't happen again, given that we do have some maintenance issues. But with that, Ernesto's going to give us an update. We also, just one other thing, are doing weekly updates, Ernesto and I, live briefings every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. That'll be posted live on our social media outlets. Our media has done a great job covering us. I know KIII did an update story yesterday. And so we'll be briefing the community 10 o'clock every Wednesday until the bridge is open. So they're well aware of the completion schedule and any delays we might face because of weather. So Ernesto, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, Mayor, City Council, Ernesto de la Garza, Director of Public Works. Joining me today is Gabriel Nojosa, Assistant Director of Stormwater, and Shane Torno with Frieza Nichols. Today's update will provide you with information surrounding the Yorktown Bridge, the Mud Bridge, to include recommended repairs and a schedule for completion. Okay, so today I'm going to start off with giving you some background on history of the Mud Bridge. The bridge was constructed in 1985, so it's 37 years old. While the bridge is inspected every 2 years by TxDOT, the city is responsible for maintenance of the bridge. Now that Public Works Department has been created, I've been tasked with developing and creating systems and plans to assist with improving our infrastructure and how we will maintain our infrastructure. With the support of the Mayor and Council, placing infrastructure as a top priority for the city, roughly $336 million has been invested in roadwork improvements over the last 4 budgets. With the last 2 bond programs, voters approved funding for the design and reconstruction of Yorktown Boulevard from Rodfield to Mud Bridge. And future plans include an AFA with TxDOT for highway bridge replacement and rehabilitation. Okay, so the recent update, December 12th, I was notified of the collapse of the road. Upon investigation, it was determined that the soil under the bridge was compromised, in turn causing a sinkhole on the bridge. Attached is a timeline of events that has occurred to date. Once we were initially notified of the incident, we took immediate action to begin those repairs. Due to high tides, weekend work was halted. Our goal for the community is improving our infrastructure and trying to address all the decades of neglect. As the city manager mentioned, public safety is our #1 priority. Emergency response will continue to respond when called upon. In the event that additional assistance is needed, anything on the Flower Bluff side, the Flower Bluff Fire Department Station 13, will be responsible to handle those emergencies. And then we, the city, are diligently working to make this a smooth transition as possible. All right, so our traffic control plan attaches a diagram of the current closure. The road is closed on Yorktown Boulevard from Starry Lane to Armand Street. And as per the traffic control plan, message boards have been set up at Yorktown and Staples all the way to Waldron. Now that we know there is a localized problem we're working on, we are going to extend the scope of the work to ensure that the entire bridge is in satisfactory shape. Our current estimate costs for repairs are between $300,000 and $500,000. Our structural engineer with Frieza Nichols, who is with us right now, will work on a comprehensive assessment of all the pilings underneath the bridge to determine the number of pilings that need to be addressed. After that assessment is completed, our engineer will work with a specialty marine subcontractor who's working with Anderson and Columbia, who can do the repair work above and below the water line to get that access as needed. Our current project plan is to reconstruct the retaining wall using riprap and shotcrete on both sides of the bridge, stabilize and rebuild the embankment on both sides of the bridge as well. Repairs have commenced. However, accessibility of work zones and high tides do pose a factor and could cause delays in the repair work being completed. We will repair pilings and/or bents as recommended by our structural engineer. Future plan, stormwater currently has $2.5 million dedicated to bridge rehabilitation through its current capital improvement program. The short-term needs are going to be completed using the stormwater IDIQ, which we are in the process of getting to a bid for a contractor to be selected.
The council was listening, but the pylons, or I guess the pylons you call them, that's different than the sinkhole scenario, which was caused from erosion at the embankments.
Correct.
So the pylons are something additional that did not cause the sinkhole, but since we're under there, we inspected and we noticed, hey, the pylons are compromised as well from years of weatherization. And we know that at least 4 are in pretty rough shape, meaning concrete's eroded off down to the rebar.
Right.
But today you're bringing in additional people to inspect all of them to make sure they're safe.
Correct.
So that could add some more time to the project depending on what we find today.
Correct, and we're procuring a boat to provide our structural engineer access, and so that is currently in the works by Anderson and Columbia.
Okay, good. I just want to highlight that we have 2 issues. The sinkhole caused from the embankment erosion, and then we discovered the pylons are not in the best shape. And so it's a metal, it's a concrete pylon with reinforced metal in the inside, and in some cases the concrete's eroded down to the metal, right? And we'll see some pictures of the embankment. So we'll turn it back over to you, Ernie.
Okay, we'll be ready for the solicitation for the IDIQ in early 2023. Along with Yorktown Boulevard, the IDIQ will also be completing $1.1 million of bridge maintenance on 46 bridges citywide. There will be continuous communication with stakeholders as needed as well. And as you can see, we are behind on addressing any urgent needs as they currently exist. So our next steps, stormwater program was created in October of 21, and it was first of its kind. Additionally, Public Works will be hiring an on-call structural engineer to review all TxDOT reports to address any critical needs accordingly. At that time, we will proceed with creating a proactive maintenance program based off of the consultant's recommendations. Our work zones, as previously mentioned, safety is our #1 priority. So at this time, we have set up temporary road closure on Yorktown Boulevard from Starry Lane to Armand Street, as we've shown you in the map earlier in this presentation. And we'll open the bridge and all road closures to traffic once we believe that the area is safe for all travel. Communication strategy is to ensure that we maintain a constant level of service, and we'll be providing continuous updates throughout the project, as City Manager Zanoni has explained. Here are some example pictures from underneath the bridge. So on the left side, that's the 2021 report picture, and then on the right side is the day that we had the sinkhole. So all that material is currently gone from erosion, and that plywood repair there is what we did in the emergency response with our in-house forces. And then once that was completed, we had a structural engineer assess that work, and determination was made to not open the bridge to traffic until we've assessed underneath that bridge accordingly.
And you'll see it better in another picture, but the left picture, if you will go back one, Ernie,
right.
That concrete that's kind of fallen, that is part of the articulated, what do they call it?
Articulated block.
Articulated block mat that was intended to hold the embankment in. You can see on the far left a little bit of embankment left there, but basically it's all eroded. So what happened is the articulated block mat that's made out of concrete failed, was washed away by a heavy event in the Osage Bay or creek, and then the soil eventually washed away as well. You'll
Correct.
see it more in the next picture on the other side of the bank.
That's the west side.
Right.
Yeah.
So that articulated block that's on the top, that covered the whole thing at one point?
Yes, sir, and it went all the way, it touched the ground. That
Right.
was what was there beforehand, once the structure was new,
Right.
and since then has eroded. That's what's holding up the pavement.
Right.